was thinking about Christianity, and I don't want to offend anyone in saying that I have a relationship with a Christ-like figure. And when I mentioned like being like peer to peer, it's just the nature of the relationship that I have with that energy. Um, the meditation aspect. So I'm going to go off on a weird little. I'm going to go off on a tangent on Christianity, and having grown up Catholic, and I know that you grew up Christian as well.
I was Catholic as well.
Okay, the first experience I had with Christianity, or where I started to question the dogmatic Catholic approach, was with my first communion, and how I think it was Sister Veronica, who is our first communion coach or teacher, said the body of Christ is going to fill you up. And I was all about the transmutation of the Eucharist into the body of Christ. I'm like, it's amazing. Like, I'm all about it. Like, I love the mythology and the mysticism behind it. And I think that's one thing I certainly appreciate about Catholicism was the the incense and the singing and all the rituals. I like that, and still to this day. But when she said that the body of Christ was going to fill me up, and then I didn't eat breakfast the morning that I got my first communion because I didn't want to be too full. And then I ate the Eucharist, and I go back to, and I'm doing everything the way that we were taught, right? And then I go back to the pew, and I'm kneeling, and I was still hungry, and I'm like, oh, maybe someone wasn't telling me the truth, and why am I not full on the body of Christ? So that was like the beginning of the inquisitive parts of myself and my relationship with organized religion.
That's the cutest little story.
Yeah, and then as it relates to meditation, and I think why I didn't want to meditate and why TM was always a weird thing to me, at least, and as it was like the Beach Boys and the Beatles was the only real knowledge that I had of the Maharishi, and it was through John Lennon and McCartney and Ringo and George Harrison particularly, and then I know the Stones tried it, and the same with the Beach Boys were big in that community, and then there was the supposed relationship that the Maharishi had with someone, and that ruined their perception of him in their eyes, etc. But the Maharishi was really onto something, and it was really he was a scientist, and he had developed this way of being able to provide measurable results if you did things a certain way. So it wasn't ascribing to a certain belief system. You didn't have to be Hindu, or you didn't have to be Buddhist or anything like that. And it was just coming back to this mantra and sitting and allowing this relationship with your inner self to develop. And the movie The Last Temptation of Christ with Willem Dafoe was a really interesting movie to me because it portrayed Jesus the Christ as a human having a very divine experience, or someone who's divine and having a very human experience, which is how I think we all sit on this plane.
Yes.
And how he was married and he had these visions, and for me to view Jesus the Christ in that way, where it was more human to human, was far more relatable than reading the Bible and having interpretive dance around that. But there was meditation in the Bible, right? And there was meditation in the Old Testament. There was meditation in the New Testament, and this is part of a broader conversation. And I'm really thinking of how Christianity or other forms of religion have been bastardized and used for political gain, or as a way to suppress certain parts of society, and that it was the Gospel of Matthew, and what he was talking about was the dimension of Christian meditation, where like no one knows the Father but only the Son, and anyone whom the Son wants to reveal him. But we have received the Spirit who is from God, so that we may realize what God has freely given us. And how is that different from meditation? Where you're sitting with yourself and starting to develop this relationship, or at least the conception of the idea that maybe, just maybe, we're part of God and God is part of us. And that to me is opened up anything and everything. And I'm not saying that Christianity doesn't work for people. I'm not saying that it does. But when we're open to interpretation and we're not just receiving information as truth, where we want to not question and just operate, or we'll bend the words as a means to an end because it's advantageous to us, rather than applying a critical eye and what feels right. The way that I am able to better define what's true is how it makes me feel right here. And when I get stuck in this intellectualization, same as meditation, when I'm in my head, is where the meditation can become very wonky. But when I imagine that my heart space has an ear on it, or it has a mouth on it, and this is how I communicate truly and freely and openly and honestly, is from this space, is where it's a way where I can get out of my head and into my beingness when it comes to meditation and having that connection with the higher self, or God, or Jesus, or the Buddha, or whatever, is to understand, or at least conceive of the idea that right here is how I communicate, in this space, and using this as a place where all thoughts are. And when I'm breathing, to breathe from this place. And when I'm thinking a thought, what does it feel like when it's coming from here as opposed to up here? And it's a radically different experience, and it's a really interesting shift. It's a long way of saying, like St. Francis, meditator, St. Augustine, meditator, right? Old Testament, New Testament. And when you're reading these texts, to be open to the possibility that it may not mean what it says on paper, and it may have a deeper meaning, and then to be open to unlearning some of what we were taught growing up and relearning, and what feels true here in this space could open up a lot for someone.
Yeah, prayer, the word prayer. What is a prayer? It is, to me, also a form of meditation. And I also grew up Catholic. I don't identify as Catholic anymore. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with it. It doesn't resonate with me anymore. However, I am much more spiritually connected, in my opinion, than I was before. And I can only compare myself to myself. I don't want to compare to anybody else. Anyone else's experience, because I think that religion serves a purpose. It can be extremely good, extremely bad. There's a scale. So, it's not my calling or job to debate it. So I say, hey, whatever works for you. But I will say that in my experience, I think that prayer and meditation are very similar, and it's about communication, but there are different ways to do both. And so I think it's very interesting that you brought that up. Also, the fact that, you are doing what you're feeling, and it feels a little bit more aligned with yourself than perhaps when you were doing other things before. I can identify with that very easily because I grew up Catholic, and I think that was a fantastic way to grow up. I went through the communion and the confirmation and everything. So I did the studies. I unfortunately forgot a lot of it, but I guess I took what I needed, right? Or what I remembered is what I needed to remember. But I do remember having, we went on retreats as teenagers with our Catholic youth organization I remember going to a monastery in Indiana or something. I think it was Indiana. And it was really interesting, very, very, very enlightening because, when you're a teenager, you're still kind of emotional and hormonal, and you go to church because your parents tell you to, for the most part, right? And my mom said, I thought you were going to become a nun at one point because you went to church so much. I was dating the altar boy. Of course I went to church that much. I wanted to see my boyfriend. And but we went to this monastery, and that was the first time that I could feel a spirituality in a place, in a physical place, even though I'd been to church all that time, because this chamber that they brought us to, full of incense, it was like, whoa, this is insane. I feel amazing here. I want to come back here by myself, but it was like only reserved for monks. I don't remember exactly, but we were led through it. We could sit in it for a minute and then we had to move on, but it was beautiful. It was gorgeous, but I could feel that there was a lot going on there. And that was my first big, hello to that kind of energy. I've since felt that again in Buddhist temples in Asia. And other churches as well, but mainly that Catholic monastery, and then a couple of the temples that I visited. So I think as an adult, I started to really question, is this the right way for me? And it led to me going, I started to question everything. I don't know how deep I'm going to get into it because it becomes controversial and people get angry about religion. Religion has started most of the wars, that are in history, right? So it's a big, hot point for a lot of people. But I remember checking in with myself and going, okay, this part doesn't work for me. I don't get it. And I'm like, well, you know what do I think is right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, okay, it was this, and then it was this. And so over, I'd say a good 10, 15 years, I just started to go through those little things like how does this work for me, or what doesn't work? And turns out all of a sudden I started reading a book about Buddhism. Pretty much everything that I had found to be true within that 15 years was in the book, in this book about Buddhism. I was like, no way. Now, I've since gotten information that I was Buddhist in a lot of past lives, and that's why Tibetan chanting and throat singing really, really resonate with me. I get it now because it's kind of, I think, my spiritual DNA. But I think it's interesting that I didn't really discover that this was all true for me. It was almost like I was remembering, and I get it now. That was kind of off on a tangent, hey?
No. And this is no tangents. I was thinking about the connection between Christianity and Buddhism. And there's the Gospel of Thomas, right? So there's the Gnostic Gospels, which is interesting, but there's a lot of correlation between early Christianity and Taoism. And so whether that's, you come from Hinduism or Islam, Taoism, Christianity, the ability to sit with oneself and develop that relationship, it doesn't ascribe to a certain belief system. It's just a willingness to get in and do the work. So it's beautiful. There's a lot there.
There is a lot there. Absolutely.
Would you be interested in perhaps, so I've led meditations before, and that's not my work. I'd rather just sit back and enjoy. So would you be interested in perhaps leading a guided meditation?
Absolutely, I would.
Yeah.
And it would be a pleasure. And I will say that I am also not an authority in meditation, but I do like to be the spark
Mm.
in meditation to get the ball rolling with people. You don't need much help. I mean, sometimes we all need help, but what I'm kind of channeling right now is our intention will be gratitude and self-love, because I feel that this is very enriching to people who even thank themselves and love themselves and consciously are aware of this on a regular basis, but also people that don't do that, because it really adds to the human experience when you can give yourself gratitude and love. So we're going to do that. So go ahead and get, I'm going to just speak like I'm not going to address you by name, Chris. Sorry. We're just going to go into it. Okay. So go ahead, get wherever you're sitting, just get comfortable. If you're laying, sitting, it really doesn't matter. So I want you to start to bring your awareness inside of yourself. Slowly close your eyes. You're going to take a big breath in and exhale. Big breath in. Big exhale. Last big breath in and exhale. So I want your awareness to go straight to your heart. What this means is that you bring yourself into yourself and not particularly outside into the room. Whatever sounds, whatever's happening around you, it doesn't matter, because you're in your heart space right now. So I want you to imagine two little specks of light, like little fireflies down around your toes. Now these little beams of light are going to travel around your body. And as they travel around, and as we guide them there, they're going to relieve the stress and the tension in your physical body and any negativity energetically that you are carrying, that they're going to really work it out. So imagine those two specks now around your toes. So they're going to start to circle around your toes, in between your toes. You can really feel the stress absorbing around the balls of your feet, around and really digging into those arches, and in and out of the heel, around the ankle and into the joint. So we're going to do a big cleansing breath in. Exhale all that tension. Feel your 2 feet that are now relaxed. Send those lights around your calf muscles. And as they go up, dissolves all the pressure and the tension that your muscles hold, and into the knees, into the joint, really getting in there. Starting around your thighs, moving up and circling in and out. Really feeling that tension melt. All the way up to where your legs meet your hips, into the joint. Big cleansing breath in. Exhale all that tension. Feel the limpness and the relaxation in your legs. Send those lights around your hips. Really working really deep. Up to the lower back. Really, really weaving in and out of those tight muscles. And around to the navel. Back around to the middle back. And your upper navel. Moving to the upper back and around the shoulder blades. A lot of tension here. Move those lights in and out of those muscles. You can really feel them working it out. Moving around to your chest. Releasing all tightness and tension there. Really freeing yourself. Big cleansing breath in. And exhale tension. Lights into your upper shoulders. Going down into the shoulder joints where your arm and your shoulder meet. Starting down around the bicep of your upper arm. Really digging in. Into the elbows. Down to the forearms. Really releasing all that pressure. Into the wrist. Around the palms of your hand. Particularly paying attention to where your thumb meets your palm. Really getting into that muscle. You carry a lot there. Now to the fingers, weaving in and out. Big cleansing breath in. And exhale tension. Send those beams to where your shoulders and your neck meet. Spiraling around, weaving in and out, going up the neck. Really feeling that wave of relaxation. And right where the spine meets the skull. Digging in deep right there. And send them around the jaw, releasing your jaw pressure. And your chin and into your facial muscles and your cheeks. Around your mouth. Up to your nose. Into your sinuses below your eyes. Send them up the bridge of your nose to the sinuses above your eyes. Now focus in on the tension in your eyes. Spiral those beams around your eyes and make sure you put them into the back of your eyes where they connect to your brain. There's a lot of tension there. Leave them in and out. Feel that release. Up to your forehead. Now into the muscles that connect your face to the back of your skull. Now circling around your entire head. Feeling all the pressure melting. And up to your crown. On the top of your head. Big cleansing breath in. And exhale tension. So now check in. Do a quick body scan to see if there are any areas that need these lights Any further tension, send those lights now to work them out. Big cleansing breath in. Exhale all remaining tension. So as you radiate in the relaxation that you now feel, you're going to send a wave from the top of your head to your toes. And as this wave rolls down your body, it's going to fill you with light and power. So we're going to start at the head and roll that wave down through your head, your neck, your shoulders, your arms, your chest, your navel, your hips, your legs, your feet. Now we're going to do it again. This time you're going to cloak yourself with white light. From your head, through your neck, shoulders, chest, back, navel, hips, legs, feet. Allow that cloak of white light to seep into your skin and move to your bones and your internal organs. Be mindful as you breathe in and out, and with every breath in and with every exhale, the light's energy, strength, and power gets stronger. Bring your awareness to your breath. Focus in on your heart. So in your heart space, the intention of this meditation is for self-gratitude and self-love. So I want you in your heart space to imagine someone or something in your life that you are eternally grateful for. Maybe it's a person, an animal, even just a situation that you've encountered. And look at this in your heart space. And feel how thankful you are for this to be a part of your life. And how wonderful it feels that you actually get to experience this all the time. So put this gratitude into your heart. And you're going to burst it into your body. Kind of like a little explosion. Feel that radiance of gratitude and the vibration that it provides. I'll say to yourself how thankful you are that you are doing what you're doing right now. Thank yourself for showing up. Thank yourself for doing your best every day to provide the best human experience that you can. Really, really focus on what gratitude feels like. Feel it coursing through your body. Thank your body for the power and the enrichment and the sustenance that it provides for you every day so that you can carry out your life work. And thank your soul for choosing this life, no matter the ups and downs that you have planned or unplanned for yourself. Thank yourself, your own soul, for bringing you to this area in this consciousness today. Now, with your body still radiating the vibration of immense gratitude for yourself, bring your awareness back into your heart space and put there a memory of when you felt immense love from someone else. What did that feel like? Put it in your heart now. Where you felt the ultimate act of love on you. It doesn't have to be from a person. It can be from an animal or a group. Take that intense love and put it into your heart. You're going to grow it with every beat of your heart. Now explode it into your internal body. Feel that wave of immense love coursing along with the gratitude. With that feeling of love and appreciation inside of you, thank yourself and send yourself love. It may be hard to say, I love you to yourself, but now is the time to express that. Take that feeling in your heart that is now all over your body and send it back to yourself, like you're giving a present. Cycle it around. feel the power of loving. Bring that all over yourself. Now give unconditional love to yourself. Say, I love you even if you make a mistake. I love you unconditionally. Now into your heart, think of one act of love that you can show yourself today. Make it simple. Could be a walk, a mindful walk. Could be a very nourishing meal. Could be a bubble bath, or it could be a journaling, or even a prayer. So with this in your heart, we're going to start to bring our awareness back into the room. I'm going to count from 10 to 1, and as I count down, with every number, you'll become a little bit more conscious and aware of the space around you. 10, 9, 8, 7, being a little bit more aware of the sounds around you. 6, 5, eyes starting to flutter around and open. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Welcome back. Are you back? Because I'm kind of half gone still.
Yeah. So what was that? So my eyes were watering, not crying, but just releasing.
Mine always do that too. Don't worry.
No worries. But somebody else might be experiencing this, so I'd want to talk through it a little bit.
Yeah.
And when you said you could feel it like pulsing, so sometimes I'm able to feel like the energy just like moving and like undulating. So when you said that, that was happening for sure. You got into the shoulders, where it's like you're able to do that, and then even into the palms of my hands, which is really interesting too. What is that? How would you explain that to someone that is listening to this podcast and has no idea who we are? What the hell just happened?
I channel it, to be honest. And some of the things that happen are experiences that I've already experienced as a human. It's just like pieces of the puzzle that somehow get stored. And then when I lead meditation, it's not only meditative for you, it's also meditative for me. But I try to ask and channel what is needed. And so I felt that for our podcast, anyone listening, and for you, gratitude and self-love were what we would set the intention for. So when I first started leading meditations, I thought too heady about them, and I would like make a list of what I needed to go through and try to channel it before. But I channel the intention before, and then my meditations turn out to be some journeys. That's for sure. If you don't have a lot of spiritual fitness, which means in essence, when you sit down to meditate, you can only do it for a couple of minutes. I tend to find that people who do 20 minutes guided. It's much more safe and confident for the person. So whether or not it be me or a YouTube video or whatever, the whole point is to give it a try and see what kind of things happen for you.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Any parting words before we tie this up for today?
No.
Me neither. I think we said a lot. So thank you, Chris, for allowing me to share what I feel like is a part of my life work, which is leading meditation. Thank you for doing that for yourself and for me. And always a pleasure.
Thank you for you.
Till next time.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.